Oh,
this is embarrassing.
you caught us off guard. Welcome to the TV show. On this show, we talk about American Horror Story, Coven, and there's going to be a lot of spoilers. So all about last night's episode and probably episodes before. So if you haven't seen last night's episode, get out of town.
Come on.
Pack your
Go
bags
lay an
and
egg.
leave. Make
Go.
like a tree and get out of here.
Yeah, I'm Steve Zaragoza.
I'm Lee Newton.
I'm Elliot Morgan.
So we have to say really quick that Danny
Is
out sick.
Yeah.
The poor thing.
she was in sick yesterday.
Yeah, she was
was.
in
She was
sick
at her desk
yesterday.
and she was like,
Go
Yeah.
home.
give her your best wishes.
And someone went in a full quarantine outfit over to her and said, Danny, you gotta go
You
home.
gotta
Yeah.
go home.
It was like the Breaking Bad, like yellow
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
you.
It was a little scary.
Yeah.
It was me.
So we have Lee filling in today.
Hi,
And
Lee.
let's dive right into this episode entitled "The Axeman Cometh."
Ooh, and so we open up in 1919, which is when the Axeman is kind of like starting his rampage in New Orleans.
Serial killer on the loose
Yeah.
in New Orleans. Come to find out, he's a former jazz player. Still has an obsession with jazz, and then puts out a thing in the newspaper saying, if you don't have a jazz band in your home while I walk down the street, I will possibly kill you.
Yeah, or at least play jazz music
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They
And
have to play jazz.
And so he's a ferocious murdering Axeman, and
But
so
a gentleman.
yeah, he is a gentleman. He's a kind soul.
He's got that
Got that.
accent.
Yeah, he's got that Creole.
Does have that accent.
Yeah.
when
He's
you
got a
rap.
Creole accent. Yeah,
Yep.
he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm an Axeman.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Real fast, before we get like too deep into this, let's do. I think it'd be cool just to do favorite parts of the episode.
That's a
like
great
favorite
idea.
Scenes,
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
So I'll start it off real fast.
Okay.
My favorite scene was actually the death of the Axeman in the first scene, or right in the cold open, basically. When all of the witches attack him. That said, it follows my least favorite scene where the witches had like the worst acting ever. Like those witches in 1919 were terrible. It was some of the worst
It was
acting.
bad. It was
Yeah,
bad.
right? I
It
mean,
was really bad.
what was your favorite?
Well, before she says her favorite scene, like, can I just get it
Yeah,
out there
yeah.
that, like, I think my favorite was, because there's a lot of really good parts in the episode.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I kind of, mine's a toss up between when anything with Stevie Nicks in it, anything with the Stevie Nicks. Witch.
I was surprised
yeah.
to see her in there.
I know. Well, we didn't see her at all.
Yeah,
last
I was
episode.
really excited.
Yeah.
That I was like, Stevie Nicks is in here.
Well, actually, we saw her at
Right?
the end. We saw her at the end of the last episode.
I liked the Ouija board part of it.
Yeah.
that was cool.
That was
Yeah,
really cool.
But Ouija boards legitimately. Which Ouija part are you talking? There's two very important
yeah.
Ouija parts.
Which one?
Where they sacrifice the chicken?
Did you see last night's episode?
I haven't never,
You've never watched it?
never watched a single one.
Oh, you didn't watch? Oh, you've never seen this show?
Single
Earlier
one.
you were like, yeah, I'll be on it.
I know, I just...
Yeah, we were like, Danny can't be on it. Who watches the show?
And then you were like, I watched the show. I saw last night's episode entitled, and then I saw you look at my computer, which had the Wikipedia page up, and you said, The Axeman Comes. And then you said, oh, sorry, cometh.
I just thought it'd be a really good time that we could have.
I think you should go.
Yeah, I'll go.
Thanks a lot, Lee. Thank you.
I'm gonna kill her.
Yeah, I know. She's trying though. You know, you gotta give her A for effort.
Go! 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 Keep walking!
A lot of cool stuff happens. We have what's her name? I wanted to say Clementine, but we have the blind girl now.
Oh, yeah,
Cordelia.
Cordelia,
We have
yeah.
Cordelia coming home now that she's blind, and she's got her boyfriend, whom we now know is a witch hunter hired by Marie Laveau.
Oh, snap.
OMG! And I know we're jumping around a little bit here, but I love that the maid was actually a witch.
Yep.
And she died! Oh, she could be a really
because,
cool witch.
And Danny was talking about this last week. You don't want that like sort of random one-off thing, because last week it led you to believe, or 2 weeks ago, it led you to believe that this maid from the first one was actually just this random
Just a normal
girl.
girl that dude was banging.
And now they
Yeah.
totally tied it up. So it turns out that this guy is out to kill literally every descendant of Salem. And the only problem is that now the blind girl has got these powers where she can see everything, and she gets all the info just shot into her brain.
Yeah, like as she just touches someone and then she gets all this info. And it's funny because like Jessica Lange is like, here, let me help you with your dress. And I didn't see it coming, but she sees Myrtle, being burned at the stake. And she's like, my goodness! And then I love how Jessica Lange is just kind of like, what'd you see?
Yeah.
Because like there's so many things. Like there's so many things she lied about.
That. No, I can explain that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that one, yeah, it's easy. There's so many.
Please don't go into how I killed Emma Roberts.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, so they, so needless to say, Cordelia?
Cordelia,
So she's got this power now. Also, side note, she has the best scream ever.
Yeah, it's like terrifying.
It's unnerving.
Yeah, it's like actually scary. Like I'm scared.
It's the scary, like, because toward the end, and again, we're jumping around, and it's ironic that we're jumping around because I feel like this is one of the most linear episodes yet, because it follows this Axeman or whatever. Suffice it to say, by the way, Axeman gets killed, his spirit stays in the house, and he's trying to get it unlocked. Meanwhile, Zoe, back to making terrible decisions, decides to go.
It wouldn't be Zoe unless she was making terrible decisions.
And the other girls are like, by the way, none of these witches are like great. Like, there's not a single one of them where I'm like, oh, this person's just the best. The best person so far is Stevie Nicks.
Yeah,
and
she's great.
And she's more comedic relief.
Although she is, at this point it's like ridiculous because when Frankenstein smashes her 8-track, she's like, you kids, why'd you break Stevie?
Yeah, which was classic. But
so good.
Yeah, so it ends up that Cordelia is just screaming her head off because the spirit of the Axeman appears at the very end. And basically Axeman's pissed off because a guarantee was made by Zoe.
Stupid Zoe with the damn Ouija board.
Again, that she would release it. So.
Well, but we have to talk about how Zoe and the witch girls, the other witch girls, were trying to contact Emma Roberts and try to find out what happened. Where is she? Is she missing? Is she dead? So they try with the Ouija board, and it turns out that they've actually contacted the spirit of the Axeman that lives in that place. Queenie's like, no, you don't mess with that stuff. You don't mess with Ouija shit, because you never know. You can because I guess a Ouija board in the American Horror Story universe, or maybe in the lore of the Ouija board, it's a method of contact and a method of release.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I found that really cool, and so Queenie's like, quit messing with the Ouija board, but unfortunately Zoe had to go and try to figure out where Emma Roberts is.
Out of nowhere. Like, it's been like 3 weeks and everybody's been cool. And then they're like, well, I guess it's time. They should probably be wondering where Madison is.
And not only that, should she give a shit in any way about where Frankenstein is? He wandered off on Halloween and just, all right, no problem. This guy that's been dead is just gone.
Madison, she's the movie star. We got to get her back.
Yeah, exactly.
So she goes and she makes this. So the Ouija board's like, are you going to release me? She's like, as long as you tell me where Madison is, I'll totally release you. And Zoe is dumb. And so she's like, well, now that I know where Madison is, I'm totally not going to let the Axeman out. Haha. Totally pulled the rug out from under you, spirit.
Fast one.
Who lives in the house that I sleep in at night.
That just couldn't possibly do anything to me.
No, who's known as the Axeman.
Yeah, exactly.
What I do think is interesting too about like this coven that you have, these like this core group of witches, is that they all have their own vices. You have, and ironically, Nan has sort of this lust after. This obsession with the neighbor guy.
Boy, yeah.
And Queenie is very selfish. Everything's about her. She has, very little regard for other people.
Well, also, she's pretty impulsive. She's just kind of like, and she's also very nonchalant about most things. Like, I don't give a fuck, pretty much.
Exactly. She's her sassy person. And then Zoe is, of course, just the ultimate bad decision.
Yeah, she just makes bad decisions. She's got a good heart, though.
And she's the one out of them, all of them that have a good heart, in my opinion.
So they go to the attic, to the butler's room, the most terrifying room in that house, by the way.
Maybe the most terrifying fictional room ever.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's basically, like Sarah and I were talking about how that room is basically just our worst nightmare. Because it's just creepy dolls everywhere. Yep. And she... What
was really cool, too, is they put incense in there, which the interesting thing about it is, like, incense is known for smelling really good, but the moment I saw incense, I was like, oh, God, it must stink so bad in there.
Yeah.
And, it really drew me into that room just by showing that little moment
visually,
of burning incense.
Yeah. And you think about how what the hell would the combination of a lot of incense and a very decomposing body smell like? And that's like
just
awful.
Terrible.
So Zoe goes in, she finds Emma Roberts completely decomposing and gross looking without an arm, and then Butler dude takes her And then he very easily was captured by the witches.
By slamming one of his own dolls on his head.
Maybe he was just like, not that one! And he's just like, do whatever, do your worst! I don't even care. Yeah, exactly.
So he gets, like, tied up or whatever, and all the witches are like, well, we're going to interrogate
Well,
the
they want to
truth
kill
out
him, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
They're like, let's just kill him. But,
Which is so sad.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Um,
Because, well, I mean, that guy, he's obviously made some bad decisions in his life. And he's clearly not all there.
No.
And, so they use Nan, the clairvoyant, to kind of get information out of him, since he doesn't have a tongue, and they kind of torture him a bit to get that info out. And so he's still covering for Fiona.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Using his mind. Like,
Yeah,
and that
could you
was really
imagine?
cool. Like, I would never have expected that. But he's like, he just thinks lies.
Yeah.
And, it's Zoe, or is it Zoe or is it Queenie who says, like, I think he's lying. Like, he's been living with witches this entire time. The torturing was really cool because they used a very hot spatula. And then at first they're like, here's your chest or whatever. And he's like, or whatever. Then Queenie takes it and she just goes, and she sticks it up.
Yeah, she just likes any opportunity she can get. She likes to mess with it. Like, she likes to show off her cool power.
Yeah. She has the most pride out of anybody.
Yeah,
with
she
her,
really does.
with her
Hey, I'm
power.
gonna have fun with this shit.
And it's so weird and graphic and strange, and it was very unnerving
Yeah,
to
it
watch
was.
that burn just slowly.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so they kind of discover that they don't know. I mean, it sounds like the butler isn't budging, and he's not going to confess what the truth is about Emma Roberts, but there is a feeling amongst the witches that he's lying. So the next logical step when you have a dead person is to go and find someone that can bring people back from the dead.
You know.
Yeah, as you do.
You've been there.
We've all been there. And so they find Stevie Nicks, and she already has her mud mound ready with Myrtle,
Just the
which
best.
is the best.
I
yeah.
love. It's just this dead burnt arm. Yeah.
And the red hair
Yeah,
sticking
just-
out. Of the
so ridiculous.
Yeah, and I
Sometimes-
feel bad for Danny because Danny was like, I hope they don't put her in the mud.
Yeah.
I hope she is just this crispy woman that's creepy looking.
She might still be
I
that.
mean, she might be a little bit, but it looks like Stevie Nicks is taking care of her with
Yeah.
her swamp water. You like my swamp water?
Oh,
I
it's
love
so
it.
funny. And the arm sticking out of the dirt reminded me of like a haunted house from when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Like your county haunted house
Yeah,
where there's
yeah.
like that fake arm that comes
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Except this is because she lacks that swamp water.
Yeah, and I love this. Just like this whole show is just kind of this other world that is just kind of cartoony and silly and ridiculous. But it's also just you're so into it for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, and you're very invested in this world that is definitely like ridiculous.
Absurd.
Completely absurd. And then and just like clockwork, any good writer would do, Frankenstein comes stumbling back into, just because like, oh shit, the writers are probably like, we gotta get Frankenstein back in here somehow. Somehow this mindless, like basically shell of a human being found his way back to the swamp.
Well, and he was slowly coming back last
Yeah,
week.
a little
Last
bit.
we left Frankenstein when he murdered his sexually abusive mother with a candlestick or whatever it was. He was getting smarter, so now it kind of makes sense that he's a little
Maybe,
bit
I don't know. Maybe
confined
he's
stuff.
he's got something in there that is just kind of like propelling him. I guess you're right.
But he's imprinted on Zoe, basically.
Yeah, he kind of you get this feeling that he
Imprinting,
likes
is that
her
a
a lot.
thing? Is that a thing that's not in Twilight? This is my second Twilight reference.
Ooh, I hope not, man, because I don't want that. We gotta have some
Horrible.
strikes.
I've never seen it or read anything.
Let's put some checks on the board for you, can we? If
Please
that is
do.
a Twilight thing. But so he's dirty and filthy, and Stevie Nicks is like, "We gotta wash you up, boy." And so what happens is the next thing that happens is the most awkward bathing scene ever, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Bleh! Bleh! Bleh!"
And you see like so much butt and just
yeah,
like,
a lot of butt.
and just anger.
Well, and she gets down to his privates, which you gotta clean. It's important, kids. We've got to talk about the cleanliness of genitals.
Quick PSA.
Yeah, the thing is there's a lot of stuff down there that
You
can
don't-
be neglected.
It's
and,
easy because in the dark you forget.
yeah, it is you can forget
It's
very
not.
easily.
You can't just rely on the water. It has to be. You have to
Exactly. You gotta get a little soap. You gotta get in there. There's a lot of crevices and a lot of corners that you might want to get in through.
And I
so
think that's what Stevie Nicks was going.
That's what she was going for.
Worried
Yeah.
about infections and whatnot, especially given his healing nature.
Yeah, and the fact that he's dead. Who knows what kind of infections you can get from being dead? You know?
Precisely,
Yeah.
Steve.
So he gets this flashback of being abused, and he starts to get angry, throwing shit around, and then he breaks her Stevie Nicks tape, which upsets her. But luckily, Zoe shows up just before he's about to freak out and maybe potentially kill Stevie Nicks. And then Frankenstein goes over and hugs Zoe, and Stevie Nicks is like, I think he likes you. You guys are meant to be together. And Zoe's like, I don't know what you're talking about because he's Frankenstein and this is weird. And so she brought Emma Roberts' body over and says, you've got to bring her back to life. And Stevie Nicks is like, nah, she's too dead. Forget it. Let's go dig a hole and we'll bury her.
Oh, that's so gross.
Which is so sad and gross and just like...
Well, and like what they, like, I only turned away one, because I'm a wuss. I don't do like the gross crap. Like, no thank you. But finally, Stevie Nicks is like, all right, fine, I'll bring her back or whatever. And she tells Zoe to like press on her stomach or something, and I was like, nope.
Yeah,
I was like,
because we don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
man.
and then she like spits up like blood and stuff.
Yeah, and then like a cockroach or something. And I like the idea that maybe...
No, I looked away.
See, and I like the idea that maybe like this thing, because they were definitely pushing something out of her body, and I like the idea that maybe the cockroach is the symbol of like the death in her body, and they've like removed the death from her body, which was really cool.
It's cool. There's a cockroach. I'm learning things.
Yeah, so there was a cockroach.
I literally was like, no, nope.
But she awakens, and the first thing she says is like, or what is the first thing she says?
The first thing she says is, I need a cigarette.
I need a cigarette.
So with her dead, crusty face.
Yeah, exactly.
And then apparently, if you're Frankenstein, it takes you forever to heal. But if you're Emma Roberts, the next scene, you're like, can I have some ginger ale?
Yeah,
please?
exactly.
Yeah,
please, can I get a cigarette and ginger ale?
Yeah, she has an impaired memory now.
She doesn't remember. Yeah, they asked her what the last thing she remembered was, and she just sees red. And she says, I remember red, which is obviously Fiona's dress that she was wearing. And it's funny because when this episode ended, I was like, whoa, that's it?
I know.
I feel like the episode went by so fast, but we've got the Axeman is free. Cordelia is figuring shit out with her second sight. We've got Emma Roberts is back. Hopefully she remembers. And we have... Oh, I liked your thing about, like, because Cordelia has second sight now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying.
So I think what's going to happen is Cordelia is going to touch somebody, and she's going to see, because she can see their password, she's going to see them throw acid into her own face.
Yeah, like that's
she's
the
gonna
reveal
see her face,
of how.
So she's going to know whoever she's touching was the person who threw
I
acid.
like that a lot.
So, which basically, it's somebody that we know. And on the note of the acid getting thrown in her face, Maria Laveau, voodoo queen, whatever, clarified that she did not throw the acid in her face. That is beneath her, and that if she wanted Cordelia to be blind, she wouldn't have had to have left her house.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, snap!
A lot of prideful superpowers happening.
Dude, I gotta say, a lot of sass.
with all these women. I'm glad Danny's not here.
Yeah,
these women are crazy.
I know, they're crazy.
Defending them.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you for watching. And also, click all of these annotations. You can click all of them separately, open them up in new tabs, watch them because they're all fantastic. Also, if you want to get caught up on the first season of American Horror Story, try it out, see if you like it. Go to netflix.com/SourceFed, sign up for a month of free streaming. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll miss you.
Yep, for 1 week.
Hold on, I'm getting a call here. Hello?
Oh my God.
Dad?
It's not a phone. It's not a phone.